our friend of DD India. And that's immense honor to welcome on DD India again, someone who has made an outstanding mark through his brand of music internationally. Proudly welcoming 3 times Grammy Award winner, Padma Shri distinguished music composer Ricky Kej on the screens, please. This Independence Day, we get to talk to him about his most decorated global music composition. He's known for large-scale projects, uniting music, aligning music with nature and national pride. He's a leading environmental voice as the UN ambassador, and he has always used music as a force multiplier for conservation and more. Ricky Kej. Ricky Kej joining us live. Thank you so much, Ricky.
Hey, Sakal. Wonderful to be on DD
Namaste.
again.
Yes. Thank you. It's wonderful to have you, as always. Let me begin by asking you something which we talked to you about at length 3 years ago in our DD India studios. You know, directing 100 British musicians to play India's national anthem at Abbey Road, if you remember, was more than a musical tribute, you said, and also, in a way, historic poetic justice 3 years ago when we featured you, remember, on that 15th August in our studio. Again, today, as you join us as a special guest, what are your thoughts on the journey so far, Bharat, at 80? Where have we reached finally?
We've definitely reached very, very far, and I think we're doing really well. And in fact, going by the Honorable Prime Minister's speech today, I mean, it was absolutely amazing that we are on our way to Viksit Bharat by 2047 and also an Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I loved the way that he had encapsulated, the Saptadhara, the seven, the 7 streams of national importance right now for national growth. So I think it's a very, very positive time right now for India. I think India is doing really well, and especially in arts, there's been so much of curiosity for Indian arts and culture. At least I can speak from the perspective of music. So I think it's very exciting times to be an Indian and very exciting times to be a Bharatiya.
You're joining us live from your studio in Bangalore home, I believe, and I can see the line of awards right behind you, adorning your studio walls. Now, 14,000 tribal children setting a world record singing the national anthem. That project must have been very special to you, but how did you actually execute that?
So I've always been working with indigenous musicians, for a very, very long time because we constantly talk about traditional Indian music as being the North Indian and the South Indian forms of classical music. But at the same time, there is the tribal and the folk forms of music which even predate that. Some of these songs that the tribal musicians sing are said to be 3,000, 4,000 years old, and the traditions of this music and the songs have been passed down from generation to generation orally, and it hasn't been documented. So I've made it my mission to travel across the length and breadth of India and document this music, because not only is it really important to understand who we are as Indians, but also what do these tribals sing about? They sing about coexistence with the environment, about being a part of the ecosystem, about how, the delicate balance of nature, all of these things, all of these topics is what they sing about. So I wanted to create a version of the national anthem which featured tribal kids. And of course, I took the help of the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences in Odisha. And we got children from the 16 tribes of Odisha, 14,000 of them together. And we created an entire stadium into a recording studio. And we actually recorded these kids singing the Indian national anthem. And it was absolutely wonderful. And of course, we won a Guinness World Record for that, which is yet undefeated.
Also, you had refugees living in India saying Jana Gana Mana, national anthem. What does that say about India's ancient identity? Many would call it like a sanctuary for humanity, but that whole Jana Gana Mana national anthem sentiment, I think it's very powerful, it's very overpowering.
That's India, right? Atithi Devo Bhava, guest is God, and of course, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. That is basically within our DNA, and it's within our culture. It's who we are actually. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. So I work very closely with the UNHCR, that is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, 2-time Nobel Peace Prize winning organization. Yes. And we discussed about what do we do for 75 years of Indian independence. And I spoke with these amazing refugee singers who have made India their new home, refugees from Cameroon, from Sri Lanka, from Myanmar, and from Afghanistan. And all of them unanimously said that we'd love to sing the Indian national anthem because we know the Indian national anthem so well. So without any additional effort, we just walked into a studio. We recorded these amazing refugee singers singing the Indian national anthem, the anthem of their new home, and we released that. And it captured everybody's imagination as being India. I mean, because India is such a beautiful country that is so accepting of people of all different kinds, and a lot of these refugees were forced to leave their country because of their music. And imagine they're able to perform their own music in their own languages in a country like India when they were not able to do that in their own country. So it was a very, very mesmerizing experience for me and a hugely enlightening experience for me.
Yes. Ricky, you've also been the cultural ambassador and shared moments, engagements with top world leaders on your social media platforms. How do you describe patriotism in 3 M's? That's motherland, mother nature, and music. And what does it mean for India's future?
No, it's absolutely true. Motherland, mother nature, and music. I mean, that's pretty much my life actually, because all of the music that I create is about either our country and our identity as Bharatiyas, or it is about mother nature and how we need to protect nature, which is again within our DNA as Indians and within our culture. About world leaders. I've been very fortunate through my role with the United Nations and the numerous concerts that I do all over the world. This year itself, I've done more than 13 countries, and I'm off to Mongolia very soon to do some engagements over there. So the thing is that it's always amazing to meet these world leaders and see the kind of respect that they have for India and for our culture and even for our Prime Minister. In fact, when President Macron had come down to India earlier this year, in February, I was in France at that particular point in time, and I actually accompanied President Macron on his plane to India, and I spent about 4 days with him in India, in Bangalore, and I also flew with him to Delhi and then back to France because I needed to go back to France. And the beautiful conversations I had with him on the plane about India and about our Prime Minister, it was very, very encouraging to see how the world perceives us and how the world absolutely respects us.
Brilliant. So why does your Padma Shri mean more to you than your 3 Grammy Awards? I mean, not taking the Grammy distinction away, we understand the sentiment, but you've always been like Padma Shri. Yes.
You're absolutely right. It's not taking away from anything. Of course, I'm very grateful for winning the 3 Grammy Awards at the end of the day.
And making the nation proud. Of course, of course.
Yeah, and but at the same time, the Grammy Awards are given for a particular music project, whereas and it's an American award at the end of the day. Whereas the Padma Shri is a recognition from my own country. Nothing can be bigger than that. And also, it's sort of an award for your body of work and how you've lived your life and everything put together. So nothing can be bigger than that. And I believe that the proudest moment in my life, or the most humbling moment in my life, is basically winning the Padma Shri. Like, for example, when I won the Grammy Awards, I did not take my parents with me, my mother with me. But when I won the Padma Shri Award, I ensured that I took my mother with me, because my mother also was proudest of that particular award. So it means a lot to me, and I'm extremely grateful for it.
Yes. And how has India's rising global stature, Ricky, freed, if I may ask, contemporary Indian artists from, if I can again use the word, imitating Western trends? You think that's now a thing of past? We have come to a point in the last 10 years where we are proudly embracing our classical roots.
Absolutely, because prior to about prior to about 2 decades ago, if you think about it, whenever you would watch a Bollywood film, the cool guy was the one who would play the electric guitar, and the not so cool person was the one who would play the sitar, and the cool person would play the drums, and the not so cool person would be playing the tabla. The uncool person would be wearing a kurta pajama, and the cool person would be wearing fancy branded Western clothes. So that is now changing because people are feeling a lot more pride in our own culture. In fact, so many of my friends who have got children, because of course I don't have any children, but I'm of that age where a lot of my friends have got children. And now all of them want to learn Indian instruments like the sitar and the bansuri and the tabla and the mridangam and the ghatam, because they want to be connected with their roots. And there's been this huge misunderstanding in India that if you want Western recognition, or that's what you crave for, then you have to sing in English, and and you have to perform Western forms of music like rap and hip hop and things like that. But that is now completely changed, and we've realized that the only way to bring about worldwide recognition is to be honest to yourself and to dig deep within your own roots and, figure out what is it that makes you uniquely Indian and create music and art based on that. In fact, every single Grammy Award winner from India has been from a traditional Indian art form of music. So that shows that, that if we stick to our roots and we stick to what we know how to do best, then we will get global recognition and we'll be recognized all over the world.
Our own Indianness. So what is your message what would be your message to young Indian musicians who are finding their own place, their own space, their own voice on the world stage, Ricky Kej, coming from Ricky Kej?
So two things. One is that, as I mentioned, dig deep within yourselves, figure out what is it that makes you uniquely you. And I'm sure that there'll be a lot of Indianness within that. And, and create all forms of music that moves you, all kind of forms of music that you yourself listen to. But there has to be some amount of Indianness in it because you are Indian at the end of the day. So there'll be a certain degree of Indianness in it, no matter how Western you consider yourself to be. And that is really important. And the second thing, more technically, is that you have to be a really, really good musician. That's the first and foremost. But secondly, you also have to be an entrepreneur because you're constantly selling something, and that is yourself and your music. And the third thing is that you have to be a great leader too, because making music is not an isolated thing. You have to work with other musicians. You have to work with record labels, marketing people, promotions people, record labels. You have to work with filmmakers. So that's why it's important for you to have leadership abilities. So you have to be all three things.
Okay. And Ricky Kej, finally, I know you have to rush to the airport to catch the flight, but let's do a quick rapid fire. And well, I think these one are easy for you, I've just realized. So India in one word.
Home.
Oh, okay. A Grammy or Padma Shri? No guesses for that.
Padma Shri, without any doubt.
Okay. One word for Mother Nature. You're so close to nature, that's why.
Life.
Life. Okay, so what's your favorite Indian musical instrument sound?
I would say the human voice. That is the Indian classical forms of singing. But if a voice is not allowed in this rapid fire, then I would say the bansuri, because the bansuri, I believe, comes closest to the human voice.
Okay, musical instrument would be bansuri for Ricky Kej. And India in 2047?
India in 2047 completely developed, and but developed in our style of development.
Okay, that's not one word. Bharat at 80, the last one.
Developed,
Bharat at 80. Bharat at 80, this is the last one.
Bharat at 80.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Ricky. It was such a pleasure as always talking to you and taking out time for DD India. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sakar.
Thank you. Jai Hind. Thanks for joining.
Jai Hind.